Hi, Sammy. Great to hear from you. Hope everything's okay with yourself. I can see you've been busy.
Well, hello there, Keith. Your music is absolutely amazing, and it's really nice to hear your new songs. So, I've just got a few questions for you. So, starting off with the usual, how old were you when you first got into music?
Great question. To be honest, just old enough to climb into a piano stool. My grandmother was a farmer's wife and had what seemed to be a massive ornamental wooden uh, a church-like organ, I guess. I remember it had gold writing on it, and it had the maker's name. I can't remember, but I do remember it was made in New York. I remember seeing this New York thing. So I would be about 6. I mean, she would sit me on a lap and place my fingers on keys to play two old songs. I think one was called "How Much Is That Doggy in the Window," and the other was called "She'll Be Coming Round the Mountains When She Comes." To be honest, I've never looked them up since to see what they were all about. But yeah, so 6.
What instruments can you play, and how long have you played them for?
Only the guitar, Sammy, really, to be honest. Though I'm pretty sure, I have a decent sense of beat and rhythm, so I could probably hold my own on a cajon. I did buy a guitar when I was 21. It was an Ibanez acoustic of some sort. It was quite expensive, as I remember, at the time for me. But I found it a nightmare to play. It was so hard to press the flipping strings down. So I never learned to play it, to be honest. It stood in the corner looking good. I knew nothing about action height or neck relief and all the rest of it, so just accepted that the guitar must be a difficult instrument to play. But I do remember, as it stood in the corner, it did impress girlfriends at the time. So to be honest, I've played guitar really only since last August.
How did you learn to play instruments? Did anybody help you or inspire you to do so?
Well, another good question. I didn't pursue any kind of keyboard, piano, organ, or anything after grandmother's efforts. So it's guitar. So far as the guitar goes, I'm teaching myself, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody inspired me, really. I think I'm the first guitarist in the family. However, I do remember Mary, who goes to Candlelight. She's been going for decades. She was actually my second primary school teacher. And she used to stand and play for us in the classroom, so perhaps she's a little bit responsible for it, but I don't know. I have to add, to be honest with you, that I just use the guitar as a tool, really, in the main, to compose songs, and obviously to perform a little in my own limited way from time to time.
So tell me, how has your upbringing influenced your music style?
Well, to be honest, I suppose there'll always be a certain amount of influence somewhere, reflecting your childhood and your adolescence. I definitely, like lots of other people, had periods of difficulty in my childhood. My parents separated when I was very young indeed, so I guess occasional, I don't know, song, subject, matter and mood will be shaped by that. Great question, though. I've not really thought about that very much. Perhaps I should, and there might be another song waiting there to come out.
So tell me, how would you describe the music that you typically create?
I guess the problem for me in answering that question, and I don't mean this rudely, is the word typically, Sammy. The reason I say that is that when I look back, I've rarely been typically anything, really. My instant response to situations is often to find a way or solution that goes against the grain for some reason. I don't know why. Though I don't actually tend to come across as particularly wayward or awkward. That's not really my nature, so it is a peculiar little mix there. As far as writing songs go, I do tend to employ a determined and single-minded approach in relation to that. I basically write songs as they fall. Maybe I'm quite lucky in that regard, which is usually in the form of a little bag or a little collection of tempo, tune, keywords and mood. On reflection, I think my songs are either romantic or observational. So I guess the observational ones could be viewed as contemporary folk, I don't know. I just seem to have my own style, and I never really aim to play in any particular or to meet any particular genre.
What inspires you to create new music?
Well, I obviously have a natural creative drive within Sammi. Sadly, it was never really picked up on or encouraged by my parents. So I guess it lay dormant for years and years as I focused on things like employment, making some money, career, and all the rest of it. I wish I had been able to go, to take the traditional route of art school, and then on to music, so on and so forth. However, who knows? It might not have worked out, I guess. So it's simply something within and constantly seeks to escape to the outside. I think that's the best answer I can give you on that one.
Can you share a story behind one of your songs that listeners might not know?
Well, I have a few of those, to be honest. They're protected by metaphorical intent, usually. I have to say, though, back in May, Sammi, I wrote a song called Stormy Waters, and there's a real serious side to that song for me. Really, that song is a bit of a personal response to situations I've become aware of where, you get professionals within one of the apparently great caring institutions who seem increasingly not to care at all other than care about themselves. It's almost as if the authentic caring attitude is disappearing altogether to me, and it's being replaced by like a poisonous combination of arrogance, greed and self-entitlement. I've met people and I know people who've been genuinely harmed by that attitude and approach, and it's very wrong. You can probably tell it angers me now as I'm speaking to you. Usually in that song, there is a moderate injection of personal venom when I sing the chorus. I think that becomes rather obvious and apparent. Everybody just seems to be thinking about themselves, really, and about when they're ready to do a certain thing or provide a service, as opposed to when the time is right, where the individual actually needs them, a bit selfish, really. So that's the example I'll give you, and hopefully it doesn't sound too angry.
What has been the most challenging piece you've had to perform, and how did you manage that?
Well, you're full of interesting questions, Sammi. To be honest, I find all of my songs challenging to perform first time, and I suppose that's due to only having done this for a short period of time. But they aren't typical anything. There's not going to be any foot tapping after the first few bars. They're just unknown, I guess. An example I can give you is my song "When They Go," which is obviously about the sadness of loss. I remember waiting to play it. And then noticed there was somebody sitting in front of me who I know, who I'm friendly with, who was being treated for a serious illness, and his partner was there with him, and I thought, oh, dear me, I wonder how this is going to go down. So that was difficult. As if that wasn't bad enough, we'd been asked to sing 3 songs that night as opposed to the usual 2, and the only other one I'd rehearsed was a Dylan song, Knocking on Heaven's Door, so I kind of made it twice as bad, really. Anyway, the way I managed it, I got through it, is by having a chat with him afterwards, and he was really cool about it. So everything, all good.
What has been your most rewarding experience as a musician?
Well, I would say to date, and this is the honest way I feel, heartfelt feedback, comments about my songs from people who are long-time accomplished and talented musicians. Sammi, I mean, one of my songs in particular, "Waltz in the Air," which was actually the first song I ever made up, has drawn a lot of positive comment, and I'm actually expecting in the not too distant future a long-established singer-performer to actually sing that song. He has the material, although he hasn't told me yet when he intends to do it.
What interests or hobbies do you have outside of music?
Well, I love cycling, and I've done since the age of 6. Isn't that funny? Everything seems to have happened or started when I was 6 years old. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a Lycra guy or anything like that. In fact, to be honest, if you saw me out and about, I think you'd find me visually disappointing. I have a 1973 vintage car, so car clubbing and all that kind of thing. I really enjoy that. Enjoy reading, and books I read tend to be deep, classical, historical stuff, that kind of thing. Nature, the countryside, which I think is obviously the farming genes coming through.
What legacy do you hope to leave with your music?
Short answer to that one, Sammi. a unique catalogue of musical work that I can simply and honestly put my own name to and leave behind me when I'm gone. I'd love to think somebody else might pick up on the odd one or two and push them on.
Have you had to make any sacrifices for your musical career?
No, not really. I mean, DIY's taken a bit of a hit, and I guess the cars aren't as clean as they used to be.
So tell me, what's next for you musically?
No, that's a very timely question, that, Sammy. Threefold, really. Keep writing new songs, new material, of course. I just know that won't dry up. Some things you just know. Bit of a style change, really. I've already pondered this, and from the new year, I'm wanting to create deeper, more meaningful songs, perhaps songs with a story, if you like, as opposed to just observational or romantic ones. That's a bit of a target. Then lastly, I'm going to explore the world of recording, the work I do, and hopefully looking to publish into the public domain, push them a little bit more and see how they get on. I think that's where I'm looking to head in the new year. Sammy, I've enjoyed this so much. You've been absolutely great as usual. It's been wonderful to speak with you and to share some of the inner workings of my songwriting in my mind. So hopefully I'll see you soon before the festive season. If not, best to you and yours, of course. But I've no doubt we'll both be around somewhere. Toodle pip.